Sorry sir, ilalagay-lagay ka ng RFID, hindi naman pala mariread ng mga law enforcement natin. Inutil lang po yung RFID.
Let's go!
Justice and Human Rights is hereby called to order. For consideration today is Senate Bill number 159, introduced by Senator J.B. Ejercito, an act amending Republic Act 11235, otherwise known as the Motorcycle Prevention Act. While waiting for Senator Ejercito, may I ask if Senator Bong Revilla has an opening statement?
Okay, si Senator J.B. Ejercito ang isa sa signatory sa pumirma ng doble plaka. Sa lahat ng senador na pumirma doon, si Senator J.B. lang yung riders. Hindi ko maintindihan bakit niya pinirmahan to. And then ito ngayon tayo, nag-a-amend tayo ng isang batas o Republic Act 11235 na also known as Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, aka doble plaka. So panoorin natin kung paano ito ina-amend, kung bakit nila i-amend at bakit ba ito pumasa in the first place. So panoorin natin itong content na to sa Senate hearing ng amendment ng Republic Act 11235.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our Chairperson, Senator Tolentino. Good afternoon to our fellow senators present, mga parating pa, and of course our resource persons, guests. Hindi naman po kaila sa ating lahat ang kalagayan ng transportasyon sa ating bansa. Nahigit pang pinahirap ng pandemya. Something as simple as going from point A to point B has become a daily challenge for Filipinos. Biro nga nila, papunta ka pa lang, amoy pauwi ka na. Yan ang hirap daw talagang bumiyahe, no, sa Pilipinas. Sobrang traffic at taas ng krudo. Kaya yung iba nagmotor na, no. Motorcycles provide an accessible and cheaper means of travel. At bilang pagkilala dyan, ay alam naman po ng ating mga riders na naging kasama nila tayo sa pagpapahusay ng kanilang hanay. For over a decade, I have been working with the Motorcycle Philippines Federation or the MCPF for motorcycle rider safety and advocacy. Naging safety ambassador din po tayo ng isang major manufacturer at sa pakikipagtulungan ng mga stakeholders. Naitulak natin ang napakaraming road rider and rider safety programs, pangunguna ng Motorcycle Helmet Act. Kaya ipinagbabawal na magmotor ng walang helmet. Dahil sa safety yan, ginawa natin yan. At yung Children Safety on Motorcycle Act. Kaya lang sa pagdami ng mga motorsiklo at nagmumotor sa lansangan, sumulpot ang ilang mga challenges. It did not take long for criminals to take advantage of this useful and efficient vehicle as tool for executing evil deeds. Andyan yung mga riding in tandem. Pero masasabi ko dyan, hindi helmet ang dapat sinisisi natin dyan. Police visibility ang dapat magtrabaho dyan. Huwag nating isisi sa mga nagmumotor na kawawa naman nadadamay yung mga nagmumotor. Kailangan ipakita natin ang ating pulis sa lansangan para yung mga kriminal hindi lumabas sa lansangan. Republic Act 1123 was enacted to prevent crimes using motorcycles. Ngunit isa sa naging epekto ng batas na ito ay ang pagkakaroon ng perception na isinabatas ito para mag-diskrimina sa mga nagmumotor. And arguably, mayroong basihan ang pananaw na ito. Sobrang taas ng mga fines dagdag pahirap dahil sa dobleng plaka. At yan, dagdag na plaka na yan, mas delikado yan dahil pwede pa makapugot ng ulo yan eh. Imagine, may plaka ka na sa likod, lagalagay ka pa ng plaka sa harapan. Delikado yan sa ating mga riders. At nagkaroon pa ng mga yung safety issues dahil dyan. At dahil sa naging mandato ng batas, tumindi ang kotong. Instead of paying yung kawindang-windang na mga multa, nagkakaroon na ng aregluhan sa lansangan. It defeats the purpose. Kaya dapat itama natin ito. Our laws must always serve the greater good and must always be equal. The sauce of the goose must always be good for the gander. Sa halip na gipitin ang sektor ng transportasyon na ito, mas maganda kung tulungan natin ang sektor na maging mas mahusay at mas tumutugon sa pangangailangan ng nakararami. As a rider myself, I've always and will always advocate responsible motorcycling in the country. And this is why I support the amendments of Senator JV. Kaisa niyo po ako sa adhikain nito. Same thing with the chairman, si Senator Tolentino is also a rider like me. So gagawin po namin ang lahat para matugunan tuno pa yung mga pangangailangan ng ating mga riders. Kaya umasa kayo, meron kayong kakampi sa Senado at kami yan. Maraming salamat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Villa. Before we proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the arrival of Senator J.B. Ejercito, the proponent of this measure, as well as Senator Rafi Tulfo. Before I ask them to make their introductory statements, I'd like to ask the committee secretary to acknowledge the resource persons present here. Okay, acknowledge.
Mapagpalang hapon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon, Your Honors. Today, joining us in this public hearing, we have from the One Rider Party List, the Honorable Representative Bonifacio L. Bosita and Honorable Representative Ramon Rodrigo L. Gutierrez. From the Department of Transportation, we have virtually present Yusek Mark Steven C. Pastor, Attorney Carl Thomas Olivar, Attorney Erica Alisa Magpayo. From the Land Transportation Office, we have the Honorable Assistant Secretary Jose Arturo M. Tugade. With him is Attorney Bernard James Bolisay, Mr. Danilo Encela, Mr. Farish H. Lim, Engineer Norberto Espino, Engineer Oliver Marique, Mr. Joel Ibanez, Ms. Mary Ann Hizon. From the LTFRB,
Can you raise your hand once you are called para makita ko kung sino yung physically present as well as those virtually present?
yes, Your Honor. From the LTFRB, virtually present is Attorney Paul Vincent Austria.
Go ahead.
From the Philippine National Police, we have Police Colonel Felix Verbo and Police Major Edward Ontalan from the Highway Patrol Group. From our civil society groups, Your Honor, we have from the Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association, Mr. Andrew Angeles, Chair, and Mr. Gilmar De Castro. From the Motorcycles Dealers Association of the Philippines, we have the President, Mr. Edwin Go, Ms. Kate Olanday. From the Law Enforcers and Riders Association of the Philippines, we have Police Brigadier General Fernando Pase, retired. And with him is Professor Gerald Abergos. From the Mindanao Confederation of Big Bike Clubs, we have Chairman Mr. Juan Andre R. Lacson.
Now, Confederation of Big Bikes. Go ahead.
From the Adventure Team Philippines Incorporated, Mr. Francis Rivera. From the Your Honor, from the Motorcycle Rights Organization, we have Chairman Mr. Robert Christian Bolanos. With him is Attorney Roel Ilagan. From the Arrancada Riders Alliance, we have National...
Comsec, I'd like to acknowledge Congressman Busita. Failed to recognize you when you showed yourself during that European Union dialogue we had. Nawala ka kasi.
Yes,
Welcome to this committee. Go ahead, Comsec.
thank you. Yes, Your Honor, from the Arrancada Riders Alliance, Mr. Rodrigo Cruz, National Chairman. From the AROX Club of the Philippines, we have National President Mr. John Paul Constantino. With him is National Administrator Mr.
Okay,
Jerry.
can you stop for a while?
Yes, sir.
I will be attending briefly the Commission on Appointments. During my absence temporarily, Senator J.B. Ejercito will preside and take over the chairmanship. You may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. From the group Pinoy Ninja, we have President Mr. Alvin Mamalayan. With him is Mr. Nathaniel Jose, the Vice President of that group. From the Kapatiran sa Dalawang Gulong or Kagulong, we have National President Mr. Robert Perillo. From Ride Guardian Community, we have the founder Mr. Nicanor Fuentes, and together with him is Mr. Arnold Vicente. For the group on Any Sunday Riders Club of Davao, we have Vice President for Operation Mr. John Jagonia, and with him is Associate Justice Ronald Tolentino. We also have motorcycle vlogger Mr. Naj Abdul. That is all, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Comsec.
Kung mag-o-observe ka dito sa amendment ng Republic Act 11235 na double plaka law, kinukuha yung opinion ng mga stakeholder, which is yung LTO, yung HPG, and of course yung riding community. Iniisip ko, paano siya pumasa, di ba dapat habang pinapasa pa lang itong batas na to, kinukuha na yung opinion ng mga riders, you know? And then nung wing na si Rodrigo Duterte or former president natin ay riders, paano niya naisip na pirmahan ito in the first place? Ngayon, ina-amend siya, mahabang proseso na naman pagdadaanan natin. Kaya tayo mga riders ang naapektuhan sa batas to. Pero pagkakalam ko, suspended to temporarily pending the amendment na ginagawa nila ngayon sa Senate.
Anyway, magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat, sa ating po mga resource persons. Thank you for your time, for being here. Hopefully, we can already amend and this controversial law, maayos na natin, hoping for a win-win situation, ika nga, na acceptable to the riders. At the same time, yung po na mga intent of the law, which was really to lessen the crimes using motorcycles, ay nandun pa rin po. No? But ito naman po ang ating hangarin ngayon sa araw to. So before I, of course, Senator Tulfo, thank you also for coming. First of all, I'd like to thank the chairperson of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, Senator Tolentino, for hearing Senate Bill number 159. This is one of my priority legislations for this Congress. This proposed measure seeks to equally treat, in the eyes of the laws, our motorcycle riders by amending the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, otherwise and infamously known as the Doble Plaka Law. Naintindihan po natin ang intensyon ng batas na mabawasan ng krimen, lalo na ang mga paglabag ng mga tinatawag na riding in tandem. Sinuportahan ito nung nakarang kongreso na ipasa, pero ang hindi lang po natin masuportahan ay ang naging epekto nito. Mas lalo naging malala at nagkaroon ng diskriminasyon sa mga riders, no? At bilang isang rider na intindihan po natin at nararanasan din po natin yan. Kagibat po ng hindi makataong diskriminasyon sa ating mga motorcycle riders ay ang pagpataw ng napakataas na fines and penalties. Halos 10 beses ang taas na penalty na maaaring ipataw sa ating motorcycle riders kumpara po sa drivers ng 4-wheel vehicles. These fines and penalties are somewhat too excessive to the point of being discriminatory again to motorcycle riders. in the spirit of equity, we would want the fines imposed against motorcycle riders to be at par to those who drive cars. Kasi po, umaabot ng 50 hanggang 100,000. Ang sabi ko nga noon kay then President Duterte, who is also a rider, nung kinausap ko siya para masuspindi po ang implementasyon na ito, ay sabi ko, Mr. President, biro nyo po, 100,000 ang fine. Karamihan po ng mga maliliit na motor, halos kapresyo na ng motor. Kaya naintindihan po naman nila. The sample representation also proposes the use of radio frequency identification system or the RFID stickers, which shall contain basic information about the owner and the motorcycle. So sa halip po na yung front plates o decals, yung RFID system na ilalagay sa harapan.
So nandito tayo ngayon mga sir, no? I-scan natin yung QR code na nandito sa sticker sa headlight. Ito yung sticker type na may barcode na meron daw na information na makukuha sa ating motor. So itatry natin na i-scan gamit yung application na nakakabasa ng barcode. No? So yun, valid naman, may lumabas na information, no? Yung plaka, tama naman yung plaka na doon nakalagay sa ating motor. And then yung kulay, yung validity, kung simula at hanggang kailan lang siya valid, ano? So 2021 to 2022, so 2023 na ngayon, 2024 na pala ngayon, so expired na siya. So nirenew ko na rin naman siya, no? Para magamit natin sa biyahe. And then ang information din makukuha mo dito, chassis number, and then engine number, and then yung MB file number ng motor mo. So ito yung ano niyan, ito yung ayan, yung QR code na yan. So yan yung kahit hindi mo ilabas yung ano mo, ORCR mo, makikita nila yan. Then i-scan din natin yung resibo ng renewal ng ating motor. Yung resibo ng sa ORCR. So ito try din natin na scan yung resibo ng ORCR natin, yung renew natin. Kung gagana rin ba, no? Saan nila yun na? Parang mahirap sa FSR, wala akong compartment. So ganito na itsura ng ating OR ngayon. So actually nagpa-print na rin ako ng sa LTMS ng digital copy ng aking lisensya. Pati may barcode na rin yan sakaling i-scan nila para legit talaga na hindi mo nakalimutan yung lisensya mo. So ganito na yung itsura ng resibo. May na rin siya, may barcode na rin siya. So try na rin natin siyang i-scan gamit yung QR code, the barcode application. So ayan, legit din naman na gumagana. Nakita mo online kung nakarehistro ba ito o hindi. So kahit barcode na lang siguro ang dalhin mo, goods na rin yan. So yun mga innovation na currently na nangyayari sa LTO, sa motor natin, sa rehistro, sa renewal. At least medyo digital na, not unlike before na talagang mano-mano, papel na papel talaga. So at least ngayon may barcode na, may QR code na para ma-determine yung mga mag-check yung ating legitimacy ng ating lisensya, ng ating motor, kung naka-renew ba yun o hindi.
Ng motor ay nandun na po ang impormasyon at hopefully kung pagtutulungan namin na Congressman Busita, Congressman Gutierrez, Senator Fulfo, ang pagtatag ng isang command center na kung saan bibili na tayo ng mga scanner sa mga checkpoint, ay scanner na lang gagamitin. Hindi na tulad na nangyayari ngayon na lahat ng rider basta motor tinitigil at minsan 30 minuto 40 minuto, no? Papasok na Maynila. Kawawa naman, nabibilad sa araw. Kawawa din ang pulis, napahirap. So, hopefully with the use of technology, sa paggamit po ng scanner system at magtayo ng command center, ay magiging madali na. Pag in-scan, pag green, go lang ng go, yung pong ititigil na lang, yung pong meron pong pupula, yung pong naka-alert. An RFID sticker does not disturb the aerodynamicity and maintains the structural integrity of the motorcycle compared to a double-plated motorcycle. Such advancements in technology not only makes the rider safe but also gives a sense of security among the public, knowing that criminals will think twice before employing a motorcycle in their evil deeds. I hope that we can all work together to further improve the safety of our people without sacrificing the rights and welfare of the motorcycle riding community. Sana po sa hapon na ito ay maging produktibo. Inibita po natin ang mga riders sa iba't ibang lugar. Represented po ang mga big bike riders, represented din po ang mga smaller displacement para po at ang mga ibang mga kilalang organisasyon at may advokasya mula noon na nakasama po natin. So before I would like to continue, the chair would like to recognize the presence of Congressman Peter Miguel. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Also, the second district of South Cotabato, a rider himself. Of course, Congressman Ramon Gutierrez of One Rider Party List. Congressman Bonifacio Busita, also of One Rider Party List. So sana po sa pagtapos ng hearing na ito, magkakaroon tayo ng counterpart measure that will be filed by our rider congressman in the House para po masigurado magkaroon na tayo ng win-win situation matapos na ang matagal na nating pinoproblemang issue ng doble plaka. So with that, uli magpapasalamat ako sa inyo sa pagdating ninyo at naway ito'y maging produktibo matapos na yung magkaroon na tayo ng magandang solusyon para po dyan. In fact, Senator Raffy Tulfo is here. Napag-usapan namin nung isang araw, nagkinuwento nga niya yung mga complaint din, mga sumasangguling rider. Kaya sabi ko, tama-tama, ay meron tayong hearing kaya nandito po si Sen. Raffy. So before we continue, the chair would like to recognize Senator Raffy Tulfo for his statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Senator Francis Tolentino, who is not here, but anyway, thank you, and Senator Francis Tolentino for this committee hearing. And I'd like to acknowledge fellow senators, Senator Bong Revilla, and of course, before anything else, I would like to commend my good friend, Senator J.B. Ejercito, a biker himself. Now, motorcycle riders are the most harassed, discriminated against motorists in the Philippines, and only in the Philippines. And I can attest to that. Although I'm not a motorcycle rider, but I've seen it with my own two eyes, how the riders are being oppressed almost every day. And who are the oppressor? Unfortunately, they're the law enforcers, traffic enforcers. Nakita ko po, Mr. Chair, halos araw-araw, ang haba ng pila ng mga motorsiklo. Magtataka ka. Ano bang meron? Bakit ang haba ng pila ng mga motorsiklo? Merong checkpoint. Yung mga four wheels na mga sasakyan, larga. Motorcycle, pila-pila. Hinahanapan ng mga lisensya. They were stopped with no probable cost. And we have the HPG here, maybe Traffic Enforcement Group. Do we have a member of the Traffic Enforcement Group? Ang pagkakalam ko, paparahin lamang ang isang motorista kung may probable cost. Ano yung probable cost? Walang helmet. Sira yung ilaw. Gewang-gewang. Those are just example of probable cost. Pero sa mga nakamotor, pinapara, ipila. At kapag nakapila na, hanapan ng lisensya, hanapan ng registration, bubuksan ng compartment, kakap-kapan. Kali. At yung mga sasakyan na four wheels, lusot ng lusot. Bakit ganon, Mr. Chair? Discrimination po yun. Kung naghahanap ng kriminal ang ating mga taga-law enforcement, bakit? Wala bang kriminal na doon sa kotse, sa van, sa SUV? Mas maraming kriminal doon. Kasi kung pag-uusapan lamang ay naghahanap ng mga deadly weapon, o armas. Ang mahanap sa motorcycle riders, pistola at ice pick. Sa mga kotse, van, SUV, kung gusto niyo pa, bazooka pa M203, grenade launcher, kayang ipasak dyan Bakit hindi yun nahanapan din? It's unfair. Very, very unfair. And this, marami na ako experience na minsan, naplantahan po ng ebidensya. Totoo yan. Kasi ang pakay lang talaga ng checkpoint ay mangutong. Ngayon, naplantahan ng ebidensya yung kawawang rider, hihingian ngayon ng kotong. Pag walang may bigay na kotong, idediretso sa kalaboso para magremedyo. Kapag walang naremedyo, tutuluyan, ikukulong. Ilan na po ang mga riders na nagreklamo sa akin na punta sa ganong sitwasyon. Kaawawa po sila. Wala po akong masamang tinapay or against checkpoints. Kailangan din po natin yan, especially during gun ban. Choke points in pursuit of some criminals not running away from a crime scene, itatawag yan sa isang lugar na para maglagay ng choke point against doon sa tumatakas na mga kriminal. Pero bakit motor lang? Di lahatin na. Palagi ang mga nakamotorsiklo ang pinag-iinitan. Nandiyan yung lalagyan ng pagkalaki-laking plaka, doble plaka, meron pang genius na nukala na maglalagay ng plaka printed sa damit ng rider para mga preso. What the F? Bakit gano'n na lang ang galit sa mga motorcycle riders? Hindi po patas. We have to be fair. If we are going to implement the checkpoint policy, it has to be fair and square. It is for everybody. Nobody's above the law, sabi nga nila. Hindi porket naka-SUV, van, kotse, libre na. O baka takot yung mga kapulisan natin, baka pag pinara yung SUV, nandun si General, o nandun si Gob, si Mayor, o di mamura kayo, o si Senator, baka ako nandun. Pero pinara niyo ako, hindi ko kayo mumurahin. Kung may kasalanan ko, ba't ko kayo mumurahin? I wouldn't do that. But anyway, my point being here is, kung gusto po natin lagay pa-implement yung batas, naghahanap po tayo ng kriminal, pantay ho dapat tingin natin, hindi lang po sa mga motorsiklo. Again, I've said it a while ago, mas marami po mga kriminal sa mga naka four-wheel vehicles. Kasi po, tinted yan, tapos malaking space, kaya nilang maglagay, magsaksak ng marami mga armas. And having said this, ako po ay magpapasa ng panukala na para mapatigil na po itong diskriminasyon laban sa mga riders. Of course, in conjunction with the bill na meron na nakasala ngayon, si Senator J.B. Ejercito, and I will make sure itong bill ay papasa ko, may katapat na parusa kung sino man ang lumabag, kung sino man nagpakita ng hindi ka nice at nagdi-discriminate against sa ating mga riders. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po.
Thank you, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Maraming salamat sa iyong pagpunta ngayong hapon. Siguro po si ating mga counterparts, kung Miguel, meron mo kayo makikinig muna. Anyway, siguro we can start probably the PNP para maintindihan po natin ano po yung mga protocols nila sa mga checkpoints. Dahil nangyari kasi noon medyo, kaya po naipasa ito noong panahon ni Duterte administration. Ito yung mga panahon yata na marami ang riding in tandem, no? At that time. So gusto natin malaman kahit na sino kay Colonel Berbo o Major Untalan, ano na ba sitwasyon ngayon? Kung nag-improve na ba o at yung mga statistics siguro ng krimen na ginagamit ang mga motor. Sige po, tsaka yung proper protocols sa mga checkpoints para po malaman namin po sa committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa ating lahat po, magandang hapon. Okay. I am Police Colonel Berbo, sir. I am with the Highway Patrol Group. Your question, sir, I cannot give any details kasi the Highway Patrol Group is particularly engaged sa anti-carnapping. So on the riding and tandem, I don't have figure. But on the carnapping of motor vehicle, I have with me, we have 1,631 motorcycle incident last 2022. Okay, kung pwede akong makasingit, Mr. Chair, sana pinatawag natin dito yung hindi po yung HPG, siguro si Chief PNP makakatulong din sa atin kasi hindi naman po HPG po ang naglalagay ng mga checkpoints eh. Karamihan na dadaanan ko. Usually yung mga regular policemen, usually from the traffic management, or yung mga nakamobil lang. Minsan at random lang, maisipan ng mga police, maglagay tayo ng checkpoint dito. Mukhang medyo mainit ang panahon. Magche-checkpoint na sila and then magche-check ng mga motor. So, hindi talaga. Bihira po yung HPG nagche-checkpoint. I don't think doon po sa at least sa topic ko, walang kinalaman kayo sa HPG. However, tatanungin ko siguro, since police po kayo, I'm sure kasama po sa inyong training, ano ba itinuro sa inyo, sa PNP, yung pagpara ng isang motorista? Ano ba yung patakaran na system or system in place para doon po sa gagawin yung paninita sa mga motoristang dumadaan po sa checkpoint? Yun po siguro tayo mag-umpisa. Although hindi po kayo yung sinasabi kong palagi naninita, nangharas ng mga motorcycle riders, pero at least itrinin po sa inyo ata sa PNP. By the way, Mr. Chair, may dadagdag ko. Ilang beses na akong nakatanggap ng reklamo na sa isang checkpoint na yung nakamotorsiklo hindi huminto. Of course, probable caution na para parahin, habulin. Ang ginagawa po ng mga pulis, binabaril. Hindi na nasusunod yung tinatawag na rules of engagement. Pagpatakas, edi habulin, maghabulan. Kaya dapat mga pulis malilitan siyan, hindi malalaki. Kasi pag malaking siyan, hindi na tayo maghabulan. Dapat habulin. Pagpakita ng baril, then that's where you engage. That's what we call rules of engagement. Malaman-laman later, yung tumba na yung motorista, ba't ka kasi tumakbo? Yung pala, walang lisensya, walang registration. Itinakas yung sasakay ng kanyang tatay na hindi nagpaalam. Kaya takot na baka napara siya at yung pulis, kukulong siya at tatawagin tatay. Maraming ganang insidente. O tumatakas dahil merong isang stick na marijuana. So what? O may isang sachet ng shabu. So what? Enough na ba yun para patayin agad yung tao? Then kung may marijuana, hulihin, kasuhan, ikulong. Patakas. Ito po, turo ko sa mga pulis. Sana nakikinig lahat ng kapulisan ngayon. You should observe what we call rules of engagement. Ano po ba? Yan ay inaano sa inyo, tinuturo. And then yung Miranda Doctrine, alam niyo po yun? Diba? Dapat ganun din. So anyway, yung po sa aking katanungan, ano ho ba yung sistema na ipinatutupad sa checkpoint?
Sige, Colonel Berbo or Major Talan, pwede pakiano na lang yung sagot ni, yung query po ni Senator Tulfo. Yung mga protocols sa mga checkpoints.
Good afternoon po, Mr. Chair. Honorable Senator, sir. As to the protocols po, it is in black and white under the rules natin po sa police operational procedures po. And in case na ang ating kapulisan po ay in doubt, nandun po yan. Every single person.
Para hindi
Yes,
mo gusto. Ano nga po, halimbawa may checkpoint dyan.
Yes, sir.
Sinabihan kayo ng supervisor nyo, maglatag ka ng checkpoint dyan para manitan ng masakyan. Paano po implement yun? Ano po yung protocol? Sabi nga po ni Senator JB. May protocol po yan na sinusunod. Turuan na kita, sir. Halimbawa, yung plain view doctrine, yan ginagamit yan sa mga sasakyan. Sa motorsiklo, dapat meron din tinatawag na plain view doctrine. Now, una po sa tuturo sa iyo. Pag walang violation o wala kang nakitang probable cause, hindi mo dapat paparahin yan. Ano po yung probable cause? Sige nga po, kung alam niyo po, sir, Major.
Yes,
Ano
sir.
po yung probable cause? Sinabi ko
Reasonable,
na kanina.
yes, sir. May reasonable doubt po na possible na meron siyang ginagawa. And yung sa mga,
Ano po halimbawa?
like yung wala pong helmet,
Correct.
yung instance po na pinapara tapos nagtalilis ng takbo po. Umiwas po siya sa checkpoint.
No.
Yes, sir.
No. Ang sinasabi ko probable cause, sa mo paparahin,
Pag may initial violation po.
exactly, visual yung violation.
Yes, sir.
Halimbawa, walang helmet. Number 2, pasuray-suray. Number 3, wala siyang ilaw, basag yung kanyang ilaw. Number 4, yung kanyang plaka ay wala doon. O tabingin yung kanyang plaka. Number 5, kung halimbawa, nakapalang siya. Then yung kaduda-duda na, ba't nakapato? Siguro, ninakaw niya yung motorsiklo na ito sa kalye at tumakas. Yun po yung mga probable cause. Then you have the reason na para-parahin, and then you ask for the driver's license, you ask for the registration, and then you go on and on and on. And then pag walang driver's license, walang registration, that's the only time na pwede niya po silang kapkan. Pwede niya po buksan ang kanilang compartment. Di ba? Kasi yun po tinatawag na probable cause. Kasi marami po mga insidente na kung saan nagkaroon po ng seizure sa isang motorista. But it was done legally, what we call unlawful na pagpapara at seizure. Madi-dismiss din po yung kaso. I'm not a lawyer, but I know this. Maybe we have a good lawyer here in the person of my good friend, Senator Francis Tolentino, na halimbawa, walang probable cause, pinara niyo po yung nakamotor. Wala talaga. And then, bigla niyo pong kinapan. Wala kayo nakuha sa kapkap. Pinabuksan yung compartment. And then, may nakuha kayong baril. Oy, may baril ka rito. Nasa ang lisensya ng baril na ito. Hindi niya dalang lisensya ng baril niya, didiretso sa kulungan. Kakasuhan niyo siya ng illegal possession of firearms, right? But i-dismiss. Kasi nga, wala ho sa tamang proseso yung pag-aresto. Kaya nga po, may probable cause, doon po gagawin yung tamang proseso ng pag-aresto. Yun naman po, sir. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Any response from the Highway Patrol Group?
Well, itong sa part na to ng pronouncement ni Senator Rapi Tulfo, hindi ko na magets kung ano yung sinasabi niya sa probable cause. Kasi yung word na probable cause, yun ay ginagamit ng mga abogado. Legal terms kasi yan, kung kakasuhan ka o hindi. Hindi ko alam kung saan siya nagagaling. No? Kasi kung seryoso sa sinasabi niyang probable cause, ano yun, nagmamotor ka pa lang, pinag-iisipan ka na kung papailan ka ng kaso. Hindi. Parang hindi yata yun yung ibig sabihin niya. No?
I was late because I attended the Commission on Appointments. Any response?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Bali, it should be the search should be incidental to a lawful search po. Or arrest, if I may be allowed to amend it.
What about the plain sight doctrine?
Plain view doctrine, yes, Mr. Chair.
So how do you apply that? Nakalagay sa compartment eh.
Yung Mr. Chair, for plain view doctrine po, it should be at visual for motorcycles po. Dapat po yung kitang-kita lang po siya. Yung dun po sa binuksan, dapat voluntary on the part po ni rider. It should not be compelled by any law enforcer or traffic enforcer as a case may be po.
Hindi mo naman siguro pinopropose na yung nakalagay sa likod na bag merong area na see-through. Hindi naman magagalit na sa atin ang marami. So I think we're done with the Highway Patrol. Coming from the suggestion of the proponent of the bill, we can ask the private, we'd like to acknowledge the presence, acknowledge na my good friend, Congressman Miguel. We'd like to ask, because we have limited time, we'd like to ask the private sector representatives here, tapos LTO, yung idea nila sa bill. One, higher penalties. Two, the requirement that there is only one plate at the back, an RFID requirement, plus a lot of other incidental provisions here, amending Republic Act 11235. Where do we start? We start from the right? We start from the right. Or we start with Congressman Rosita muna. Kaharap ko na eh. Kanina ko pa hindi na-college with the indulgence of the other private groups here present. So ano suggestion nyo sir dito sa bill? Okay? Not okay?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And pansinin niyo rin yung yung opinion ni Congressman Busita. Talagang alam niya yung sinasabi niya dahil una-una naging HPG personnel yan at ngayon ay congressman ng One Rider Party List.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. On behalf of One Rider Party List, Mr. Chair, we support this bill, amendment, Republic Act 11235. First, napakaganda po nito dahil mas lower po yung penalties na nakalagay dito. And comparing po doon sa Republic Act 11235, yung existing fines and penalties, masyado po itong napakataas at ang pakiramdam po ng riding community ay talagang pabigat sa kanila. Actually po, may na-mention nga po dito, 100,000 pesos. Most of the motorcycles, ang presyo na lang is 10,000, 15,000. So yun po about sa penalty. Doon naman po sa doble plaka, we all know na kapag meron naman pong crime incident, talagang it's very impossible na ma-recognize pa ng biktima or ng witnesses yung front plate. Talagang ang makikita po natin practically yung rear plate. Second, ang motorcycles po natin, hindi naman talaga nakadesign yan sa doble plaka. And about 70% po, Mr. Chair, about 70% po ng motorcycles, hindi pwedeng lagyan ng plaka sa harapan. And kung hindi po ito ma-amend at i-implement yun, siyempre po, pag nag-attach tayo ng plates sa harapan ng motorsiklo, regular po, Mr. Chair, ang vibration nito. And suddenly, eventually, masisira po ang attachment nito and it will cause accident po sa rider. Siyempre po, once lumipad sa harapan mo yung plate, ang instinct mo, iilag ka and it will affect yung direction po ng iyong motorsiklo. And doon din po sa Republic Act 11235, nakita po natin na meron po ditong impounding Mr. Chair. And almost all police stations and almost all LTO offices, wala pong impounding area. And with all due respect dito po sa mga ito, Mr. Chair, I think wala pong capability na makapag-provide ng enough space and facilities for the impounding area. So ang mangyayari po, kung hindi talaga ito ma-amend, prone po sa damage and may mga mawawalang pyesa doon sa motorsiklo na may impound. At alam naman po natin kapag nangyari na yan, maliliit lang yung motoristang involved dito, wala silang capability to file a complaint against the enforcer, particular doon po sa nag-impound. So talagang napakaganda po na ito'y maamyendahan. And kung i-review po talaga natin to, Republic Act 11235, parang ang impact nito, Mr. Chair, sa riding community, parang nabanggit nga po ni Honorable Senator Tulfo, ang pinakikita sa publiko, mga riders lang ang kriminal. Especially, nabanggit ni Honorable Senator Tulfo, Mr. Chair, nasa checkpoint, ang chinecheck lang one by one. Motorcycles, Mr. Chair.
Kaya talagang napakaganda po nito. And Mr. Chair, ito ko na rin po na isang maganda dito sa proposed amendment ni Honorable Senator Ejercito is ito po sa instead of maglagay ng front plate, RFID po. Ang maganda dito, Mr. Chair, RFID, ito po isusuportan ng lahat ng mga mambabatas and of course, our President. Mas mabilis po ma-identify kung ito ba ay sayo, kay Pedro, or especially, Mr. Chair, hindi lamang po ito address ng RFID yung crimes committed by the riders. It will also address the crimes committed against riders. Ano po yun? Sa karnaping po, agaw motorsiklo. Dahil siyempre po, kung nanakaw yung mga nanakaw na sasakyan, particular sa motorsiklo, nire-report po yan sa SPG. At kapag nag-conduct po sila ng investigation and they found out na talagang nawala yung motorsiklo, Mr. Chair, using the scanner, makikita po agad doon, karnap yung motorcycle. So hindi lamang po ina-address nitong proposed bill ng Honorable Senator Ejercito, hindi lamang po yung crimes committed by the riders. It will address also the crimes against the riders. Kaya, again, on behalf of One Rider Party List and also my partner, Honorable Congressman Rose Gutierrez, kami po ay talagang nakasuporta dito. At alam po namin na talagang ikakatuwa po ito ng riding community. Mr. Chair, maraming salamat po.
At may pasurvey nga pala tayo, no, kung tatakbong senador si Congressman Busita, iboboto mo ba? Kung iboboto mo, complain mo naman, comment mo down below kung bakit, and then kung hindi, comment mo na rin, ano, para mawahan yung pulso natin. And I'm sure kung tatakbo tong senador at mananalo, he will represent the riding community very well dahil una-una rider siya, HPG, may alam na sa batas, pagbalangkas ng batas, so forth and so on. So, yun, comment mo down below, no?
Congressman Sita, yes, Senator Tulfo is recognized.
Yeah, I do agree everything that he said and what's in the bill. However, meron po ako, Mr. Chair, katanungan. Bakit po motorsiklo lamang ang lagyan ng RFID? Bakit hindi po pangkalahatan? And what is the purpose of the RFID? Kasi if the purpose is to identify criminals, then again, dapat hindi selective, dapat kung pwede, lahat na lang. And yung RFID is very helpful kasi nga po, that would determine, hindi na kailang para-parahin, dadaan lang sa isang device, malalaman kung itong kotse ay carnap, kung itong yung registration niya ba ay current o hindi, o kung ito ba ay plaka, so forth and so on. Then that is probable cause na para-parahin agad yung sakyan o habulin. Ganyan. Sana may dagdag natin sa pangkalahatan na lang. Yung
Thank you, Sen. Rafi. I think si Asek Tugade can answer, no? Kasi sa LTO, ating LTO Director, thank you for welcoming to your office last week. Inorienta tayo, Mr. Chair, doon sa estado, no? Nung backlog natin sa plate number. Probably can discuss that later on, yung ating proposal. Siguro yung RFID, yun yung tinatanong ni Sen. Tulfo. I think yung 4 wheels, meron na rin ba? At saka yung, siguro pwede orient, what does the RFID how does the RFID function?
Yes, kung anong difference? Kung anong difference?
Hi Mr. Chair, members of the committee, magandang hapon po. Yung lahat po ng mga plate numbers na ini-issue po natin for motor vehicle and for motorcycles, meron po siyang pair na RFID na po na piniprint rin po. Tapos together with the RFID po, nire-release po yung plates and the RFID. Ang use po ng RFID, sir, is once scanned, it provides the details about the vehicle. Just about the vehicle po, registration, when it was last registered, make, model, just to ascertain na yung vehicle po na yon is really what is registered po. So kailan po nagagamit yung RFID? So sa checkpoint, that's good, Mr. Chair. So dapat sa checkpoint, meron kayong device na para i-read yung RFID. Kasi kung may RFID and you don't have that device to read it, then useless lang yung RFID. So dapat sa mga checkpoint, meron kayong device na para magamit yung RFID, ma-read. Lahat ng dumadaan sa checkpoint, motorman o kotse, ma-identify properly.
Mr. Chair, tama po, the intention behind the issuance of the RFID is for that the law enforcers can ascertain using the device po, as mentioned po by Senator Tulfo. Unfortunately po, our law enforcers are not capacitated. Wala po silang capability ngayon. Meron po tayong ni-roll out, sir, a few weeks ago sa LTO. Ito po yung mobile handheld device. Although limited lang rin po siya, it has the capability of reading the RFID na naka-install po sa vehicles. But tama po, it's not enough, Senator.
Pero sorry sir, ilalagay-lagay ka ng RFID, hindi naman pala mariread ng mga taga-law enforcement natin. Inutil lang po yung RFID. Pag naglagay ka ng RFID, dapat may capability yung mga taga-law enforcement natin, traffic enforcement natin, na mariread yung RFID using a device, especially sa mga checkpoint. In fact, hindi na po kailan sa mga checkpoint. Halimbawa, yung ating mga taga-highway patrol group, habang nagpapatrolya, so meron siyang scanner o device, tututukan niya isang kotse na medyo kaduda-duda and then tututukan yung RFID sa plaka. Pag nakita na, ops, medyo karna pata to. So, iirawan agad at paparahin. At pag hindi papara, iraradyo para abangan sa unahan ng kapwa niyang pulis.
Tama yung tanong ni Senator Tulfo. Siguro papunta ako doon sa tanong, wala bang capability ang LTO o kung sino yung RFID provider na mag-low-tech tayo ng konti, QR code, may katabing QR code yung RFID para kahit sa probinsya, ang gagamitin ay cellphone na lang. Pag pitik ng traffic enforcer, kita na yung mga information. Low-tech, magkadikit, pero nando na, hindi na kailangan ng baril. Yung mga baril-baril pa namin sa MMDA. So, cellphone na lang. May app na gagamitin. So, siguro yung technical ninyo, yung IT ninyo, maaaring maka-device ng ganon, tapos kagad yung problema natin. Diba?
Actually, Mr. Chair, with the indulgence of our chair and Senator Tulfo, actually yun po yung intention po natin na una po yung paglagay ng RFID, but unfortunately, hindi na ako nakaano nung 2019, hindi natin natuloy. We are supposed to set up a command center, no, sa PNP, LTO, na kung saan, halimbawa po meron checkpoint, may scanner na, we have to purchase scanner para po sa mga PNP na meron sa scanners, na meron pong nanakaw na halimbawa, nanakaw ng motorsiklo, itatawag lang sa command center, naka-alert na kagad yun. So I think yung natin kailangan pagtulungan ho natin Sen. Rafi, Mr. Chair, that we have to set up the command center and also purchase the scanners, no, for all the PNP checkpoints. I think both ways yan. Magiging mas maginhawa na sa riders, hindi na tayo maiiwan, ititigil na matagal, i-scan na lang. Ang police din, napakahirap din na iniisa-isa nyo yung rehistro, di ba? Nakakaduling din yun. So it will be both ways. Medyo gagastos na tayo, but I think it will address, Senator Tulfo, Mr. Chair, a lot of problems. So sa PNP, sa riders, yung discrimination, I think mawawala. So siguro si Asek Tugadi can also elaborate kung di ko tungkol dito sa RFID.
Dagdag lang sinabi ni Mr. Chair, Senator Tolentino, napakaganda po yung QR code. Paano magagamit natin yun? Kasi sa haba na labaw ng EDSA, meron po tayong mga camera sa command center, may nagbabantay. So pwedeng i-zoom in yun. Kung may QR code, i-zoom in, babasahin yung QR code. Oh, ito pala ay nakaw. Ito pala ay expired ng registration. Itatawag agad sa mga nakaabang, sa strategically nakaabang ng mga pulis na, oy, parahin nyo itong ganitong kulay na kotse, ganitong model. Bingo. So maganda po yung suggestion nyo, Senator Tolentino, sir.
Tulfo, tsaka kidding aside, sanay po ang mga Pilipino na yung ginaganon sa ulo nung COVID-19, ginaganon lagi tayo kung ano yung temperature natin, di ba? So, I think the suggestion of the proponent here is to set up a command center, eventually per LGU, and eventually it can be used, it can be part of the command center for disaster preparedness. Sama-sama na yon. Sama-sama na. And then yung QR code. So we totally agree with that. And we will now be asking the other private sector. Yes, Congressman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. With the indulgence of the Chair, I would just like to make some comments po. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to the honorable members of the committee here today, and of course our fellow resource persons. Just to echo po, the statement of my partner, si Congressman Busita, we in this representation would like to...
Sa inyo, sino mas ano? Kasing edad lang.
We just want to echo our support for this Senate bill, and that the key words were actually mentioned truly already by the Honorable Senator Ejercito, in that we're seeking equity for motorcycle riders. And as mentioned by Honorable Senator Tulfo, fairness po talagang hinahanap natin for motorcycle riders. Just to comment on the Senate bill po, we do support it. It is a very welcome move on the part of the Senate. The direction that we are lowering the penalties is very much welcome, and that we are only focusing on one plate is likewise aspired to. However, just some comments po on this, and actually it was already mentioned by Senator Tulfo. Just a background po, for our work here in the lower house. Upon assumption of our office, we actually talked to ASIC Wadis about the status of the implementation of this law. And thankfully, we were informed that the implementation, actually the enforcement was suspended as per the current rule, kasi magulo po yung bill. However, as we were conducting further studies into the bill, what we've noticed with the RA 11235 in general is that most of the penalties refer to the plates. It actually redounds back to the identification of motor vehicles. And one thing we felt is that bakit po motorcycles lang? When most of the provisions and penalties can actually be applied, as mentioned by the Honorable Senator Tulfo, can be applied at large to all motor vehicles. Actually po, if you look at the penalties, yung iba po dito, we have aggravating the increasing the punishment by mere use of motorcycle vehicles. But if you look at the revised penal code, we already have the aggravating circumstance of commission of a crime by use of motor vehicles. So why don't we just rely on that? Yun po yung nararamdaman po namin sa party, in that bakit po nasa-single out yung motorcycle riders kung pwede naman po gawing yung batas na pangkalahatan. Likewise with the RFID, as mentioned again earlier, kung pwede naman po ito i-implement doon sa ating four wheels, which already mentioned the reasons why we should be more wary of the four wheels. Why don't we apply it equally? Yun lamang po are some of our initial comments on this bill, and we do hope, we look forward to working together in finding a, as Senator Ejercito mentioned, a win-win situation. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Congressman Gutierrez, I totally agree with your equality proposal, considering that the two recent ambuscades that we had, Lanao del Sur and Apari, involved four-wheel vehicles not riding in tandem. Recognize the arrival of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, another rider also. But may I know kung nakapagsalita na si Congressman Miguel? Alam niyo, sa kay Congressman Miguel, rider, but you go to an area, they call it Tupi. In South Cotabato, there is a speed limit, parang 30 kilometers per hour lang. Oh, so go ahead, sir, if you have with the permission of Senator De La Rosa.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Senators, sa inyo lahat. Magandang hapon po. Sa totoo lang po, I'm here as Vice President of National Federation of Motorcycle Club of the Philippines. This is a federated clubs of all motorcycle clubs all over the country. And with me is General Paso and of course John B. Lacson. And we're here just to show our support to the amendments by our good senator. Alam natin itong double plaka ay napakalaking issue nung araw. Mayroong protesta, motorcade all over the country. Grabe. And good thing it was not implemented it was not fully implemented by the previous administration. Salamat po at nangyari. But this time, this is real timely na baguhin at lahat. And the provisions provided by, as amended, the amendments as proposed to our proponent is, to us, is very well written and supporta lang po kami dito sa lahat ng amendments ni Senator JP.
Congressman Miguel. Senator De La Rosa? the number one rider, whether motorized, non-motorized, two-wheeler. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Being an old rider, kung ano mang ikaganda ng buhay ng ating mga riders, mga riding community, ano yung ikakasaya? Sa ikakasaya nila ay nandito po ako para sumuporta. At in-announce na po yan ni Senator JB Ejercito doon sa Republica Ride 4 sa Malolos, Bulacan na gawin niya akong co-author at co-sponsor dito sa kanyang bill na ito. So, hindi ako nag-volunteer ha, pero siya naman nagsabi dahil alam niya magbo-volunteer talaga ako. Kaya in-announce niya na magko-co-author ako, co-sponsor. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman, whatever it takes, I am here to support the measures filed by Senator JB. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rosa. May I likewise ask yung grupo ni Congressman Miguel, aside from your vocal support here, if you can submit to this committee a copy of your written position paper. So when we craft the committee report, it will be more synchronized. But can we start from this area going to the left because that's human nature? Mr. John Paul Constantino, anything about this bill? Any violent reactions or what?
Good afternoon po sa lahat. I'm JP Constantino po, the National President of Aerox Club Philippines. It's a small group po dito sa Manila pero we currently have 100 chapters all over the Philippines. Nandyan po ang mga Bisaya, mga taga Mindanao po. Bilang pong representative po nila, nagpapasalamat po muna ako sa inyo dahil first time po namin naramdaman na may kakampi kami sa Senado. As a representative of Aerox users, particularly riders sa buong Pilipinas po, it is with goosebumps po na maramdaman namin na kasama kami sa collaboration. And with this amendment, we all want you to know, we have a position paper here and to say that we fully support. And again, we feel that we are not alone with the damage that this crime incidents has done to not only riders, pero sa lahat po ng gumagamit ng sasakyan. And we believe that as a community, we can take this collective experience and turn it into a period of unprecedented cooperation and a positive change sa Pilipinas. And again, we, the Aerox Club Philippines, support Senator JB Ejercito to amend the law with the Senate Bill number 159, seeking to lower the fines and the penalties. Also, the organization supports to specifically amend Section 4 of RA 11235 and the other sections which requires a motorcycle owner to register. These are the basics na dapat po dati pa maayos na. And with this amendment proposal with the Honorable Senator JV, kinikilabutan po kung sabihin na ngayon pa lang po nagpapasalamat na po kami. Hindi pa man po ito final. Sana po sa Senado po at sa House po at ang ating Presidente ay masuportahan tong amendment na to. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. Constantino. Have you submitted your written position paper? Wala pa? Comsec, can you have that received? Thank you. You have a duplicate copy. Thank you, Mr. Constantino. Next we go to Mr. Arnold Vicente, the Director General of the Philippine, what's that role?
Right guard dyan po.
Right guard. Pasensya na, mas maganda pa walang reading glass pang RG community.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Arnold Vicente po, currently Director General po ng RG Community. So, ang pagmumotor po na ginagawa po namin is kaya po natin bumili ng motor ay para mapagaan ang buhay namin. So, unfortunately, ang nagiging tingin sa mga nagmumotor ay kriminal kaagad. So, ngayon, full support po. Siguro, ito na po yung tuloy na sinasabi na magiging magaan na ang buhay ng bawat motorista. In behalf po ng 23,000 members ng RG Community po, full support po sa amenda.
Thank you, Mr. Vicente. Again, we expect you to submit a written position paper. Mr. Perillo, Robert Perillo, Kagulong.
Salamat po Mr. Chair at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat dito. Kay Senator JP po at kay Senator Bato, kay Senator Rapi Toldo, Senator Tolentino, Congressman, sa mga kasama sa riding community. Since pa po na binalan kasi itong panukalang batas hanggang maging ganap na batas ay ang aming mga sakripisyo at hirap dito para ito ay mapigilan at makapag-contribute din sana kami ng aming mga posisyon pero hindi kami nabigyan ng pagkakataon at
Mr.
since
Perillo, you are referring to the previous law.
ay,
Okay,
sige.
so
Nais ko pong basahin ang pahayag po ng aming organisasyon. Pahayag ng kagulong hinggil sa panukalang amyenda sa RA 11235 o ang tinatawag na doble plaka law. Sa gagalang-galang na chairman ng Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights at Public Services, Honorable Senator Francis Tolentino at Senator Grispo, gayon din po sa kagalang-galang na makasapi ng Joint Committee na ito, mga kinatawa ng iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan at mga eksperto sa kapwa naming mga leader ng iba't ibang organisasyon at sa lahat ng mga narito sa pagdinig na ito. Magandang hapon po at pagbati mula sa aming kapatiran sa dalawang gulong o kagulong. Una po sa lahat, ang pasasalamat ng aming kagulong sa principal sponsor ng Senate Bill number 159, si Senator Honorable Senator JB Ejercito sa kanyang pangunguna sa pag-akda at pagsusulong ng panukalang amyenda sa Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act o mas kilala sa hanay naming mga riders bilang doble plaka law. Bilang kapwa namin motorcycle riders, si Senator GB ang una naming nilapitan para ihapag ang mga mungkahi naming pagbabago sa tinutulan naming batas. Kaya't napakalaki ng aming pasasalamat na ang resulta ng aming pakikipagdialogo at mga konsultasyon sa kanya ay naging buhay na panukalang amyenda na kumakatawan sa hinaing at kapakanan ng riding community. Kung matatandaan po ninyo, kinuligsa at nilabanan ng mga riders ang doble plaka law. Naglunsad kami ng iba't ibang pagkilos laban dito. Kabilang ang Unity Ride na nilahukan ng libu-libong mga riders. Nakakalungkot nga lamang ng aming pagtutol ay hindi pinakinggan ni Senador Dick Cordon. Malakas at nagkakaisa ang oposisyon ng mayorya ng riding community laban sa batas na ito. Sa katunayan po, ang aming kagulong ay nabuo mula sa advokasya na ito dahil sa paniniwala ng anti-krimen na layunin ng doble plaka law ay lalo lang mauwi sa paglala ng laganap na diskriminasyon sa motorcycle riders at maging balon ng korupsyon sa mga lansangan dahil sa gintong halaga ng penalties. Mahigit 90% ng gumagamit ng mga motorsiklo ay mga manggagawa. Dahil sa mas matipid at mabilis na gamit nito, gayon sa pagpasok sa trabaho. Kabilang sa kanila ang libu-libong gig riders at platform economy na sangkot sa marangal na lehitimong paghahanap buhay. Bagay na nais din po naming protektahan na ikinatuwa rin naming nakita sa hiwalay na mga panukalang batas ng ating chairman na si Senador Tolentino at Senadora Risa Hontiveros para sa kapakanan ng mga platform workers. Sa ilalim ng RA 11235, lahat ng rider ay suspect sa krimen o maaaring maging suspect na riding in tandem sa kadahilan ng gumagamit kami ng motorsiklo. Kaya't para hindi mangyari ang komisyon ng krimen ay pinatawan kami ng kakaibang batas ng ngipin at lawak ng aplikasyon kumpara sa may-ari o gumagamit ng ibang sasakyan. Dahilan para humiyaw kami ng diskriminasyon at paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Mr. Chairman, gayong katulad po ninyo at nating lahat dito ngayon, kami rin sa kagulong ay nangangarap na maglaho ang krimen sa ating bayan. Dahil marami sa mga street crime na ito ay mga rider mismo ang nakakasaksi sa mga lansangan. Subalit hindi po kami kumbinsido na ang doble plaka ay epektibong panlaban sa malalim na problema ito
sa krimen at hustisya sa ating bayan. Naniniwala kami na ang aming mga mababatas ay makakapagbalangkas pa ng mas mahusay na pamamaraan laban dito. Dagdag dito, hindi lang sa delikadong laki ng doble plakan na takutan ang mga riders kundi sa lagpas doble laki ng ipinapataw na penalty sa mga paglabag mula 20 hanggang 100,000 depende sa kaso. Naninindigan kami na ang penalties na ito ay hindi lang discriminatory kundi confiscatory dahil mas mahal ito kumpara sa mas maximum na penalty na 5,000 sa mga four wheels at higit pa sa halaga ng motor na aming hinuhulugan kada buwan. Ang mga pagtutol at pangamba naming ito ay natugunan ng panukalang amyenda ni Senador JB Ejercito. Kung kaya't sa kabuuan ay sinusuportahan namin ang mga panukalang nakapaloob sa Senate Bill number 159. Sa huli, nais po naming ipaabot na sakaling RFID ang maging alternatibong kapalit ng plaka sa harapan, nais naming matiyak na ang sistemang ito ay hindi lalabag sa aming karapatan sa pribadong buhay ayon sa itinatakda ng Data Privacy Act. Maraming salamat po. Ako po si Robert Perillo, tagapangulo po ng Kapatiran sa Dalawang Gulong.
Thank you,
Salamat.
Mr. Perello. So, I think we have a semblance of unanimity here. Wala bang oppositor dito na kumukontra? Huwag kayong, baka matakot na yung oppositor sa dami ng sunod-sunod na yung in favor, hindi na mag-oppose. But we will try to have that. I've been discussing this with Senator Ejercito to balance the playing field. We will hear some opposition. Perhaps in the next hearing, kung wala dito ngayon. So we now go to Brigadier General Pase, but you represent the same group. A reiteration perhaps of what your group mentioned a while ago, and then we go to Mr. Lacson. Go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Honorable Chairman, sir, the honorable members of the committee, fellow riders, and the workers in government. Good afternoon. I'm General Pasi, already a retired general. I used to work at the Highway Patrol Group for 13 years. I am now an officer of the two biggest umbrella organization of big bike clubs, the National Federation of Motorcycle Clubs of the Philippines and the Luzon Motorcycle Federation Incorporated. I am with Congressman Miguel and of course Brother Jun D. Lacson in the National Federation. I am also the president of one of the biggest big bike clubs in the Philippines today, the Law Enforcement Riders Association, with more than 3,000 members. When RA 11235 became a law, I, together with my club and several riders here, club leaders, were among those who joined the more than 2 million protesters at EDSA. People Power Monument at Quezon City. And this was followed by the longest motorcade rally along EDSA. Other rallies were also conducted by motorcyclists in several parts in the country. That's about 8 million riders affected by the law went to the streets. I am against RA 11235, and I am happy that our brother rider, Senator JV, came up with this planned amendment of the law. We protested because we have so many reasons why the law should not really be pushed through. The 8 million maybe or more riders really don't like or did not like the law. It was discriminatory as mentioned by several of the senators and those who have spoken earlier. This targeted specifically the motorcycle riders and or owners. And
if you think of the solution that was proposed, that we should have two numbers, one at the front and one at the back, which can be visible at the front, at the side, and at the back, at the distance of 15 meters. But this do not apply to other vehicles on the road, only motorcycles. Second, the plate is so big, bigger than the ones used by big vehicles, four-wheel vehicles and other vehicles on the road. So again, targeting the motorcycles to have this kind of plates. The solution that is proposed by our good senator to have RFID is welcome to all of us. At least the RFID which removes the plate, big plate in front will be a good solution. No? Second, it will not affect the aesthetic design of the motorcycle and also the aerodynamics, as mentioned by Congressman Busita. We are all for that. The motorcycle is a good machine, a beautiful machine. If you start introducing something on the motorcycle that was not there when it was designed, then it destroys the whole thing, destroys that machine. Okay? So, as mentioned by Honorable Chairman, we, the National Federation, and also the Motorcycle Federation will come up with our position paper, which we will submit to the committee on our present stand as far as the amendments concerned. Most of the riders are all for the amendment, Mr. Chairman, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, General. We will be doing this swift. Those who will not be called here will be asked to attend a succeeding hearing. Those who were called will no longer be required, together with the oppositors, if there are any. Baka na-overwhelm na yung oppositors. Hindi na nagpa-register. So, but prior to the next hearing, we anticipate to have your position paper. So, is there any other version, rather aside from the outright support? For instance, a version that will require, I mentioned QR code, a version that would require perhaps a rider safety seminar included as a provision here, a version that would enable the Highway Patrol Group to delegate two riders organizations themselves to police their ranks. Kayo na yung hahawak ng scanner para makita nyo rin na, di ba? I have versions of that. Just trying to trigger your creativity. Meron bang ibang versions? Yes, sir. Who is raising his hand? Mr. Bolaño, sir. We've met before several times.
Yes, sir. I'm very happy you remember me, sir.
Yes, during my previous life.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I learned a lot from you, sir.
Huh?
Thank you.
Learn a lot concerning
Yes, sir.
what?
Concerning legislation, sir, and the job that you are bound to. And it
Yes.
gave me more respect for legislators.
Thank you. Mr. Bolaños, anything to say?
Yes, sir. I would like to take this opportunity to inform everyone of an ongoing case against RA 11235, now pending in the Quezon City RTC. I have here Attorney Ilagan, our legal counsel for the said case, so that he may give a brief update on where we are now with the case against RA 11235.
So, before you proceed, if anything happens here, if this is approved by this committee and referred to the plenary and eventually becomes a law, the pending case will be moot and academic. It will eventually be dismissed by the judge, especially if most of the concerns will be the penalty, the doble placa, it will be rendered moot and academic. So my suggestion for you Pagagalit si attorney, baka wala ng attorney's fees. Dahan-dahan muna natin to, hintayin natin tong mangyayari dito. Kasi tumatakbo yung metro nyo rin sa Husgado. But you can give us a brief report update on what is going on with the RTC. Mahaba pa yan, sir. Baka umakyat pa yan kung saan-saan. Ito, kami ni na Senator JB, tsaka yung mga nandito kanina, baka mapabilis ito. So, wag mo munang bayaran si attorney.
We pay on a regular basis, sir.
So that is something that you learned from me today.
So,
Attorney, you have something to say?
anyway, sir, it will be ano naman po. We have been coordinating with the office of Senator JV on this one, and the amendment as well as the case is working hand in hand so that they will ride together on the same highway at hindi sila magbabangganin din. I have here Attorney Ilagan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and the members of the committee. So just to give you an update on the case that we filed, first off, I'd like to say that really appreciate the initiative to amend the present law because it is aligned with our objectives in filing the case before the court. So we filed a case before the RTC of Quezon City basically to question the constitutionality of the provisions of the Doble Placa law, grounding on constitutional violations of Equal Protection Clause, the prescription against excessive fines and penalties, and violations of the due process. So in essence, our position is that the Doble Placa law, as currently worded, single outs the motorcycles, and it seems to generalize that only motorcycle owners and riders have the propensity to commit a crime. While we understand the laudable purpose of the Doble Placa law, which is to prevent the commission of crime, we think and we believe that the law or the requirements under the law should be applicable or should be applied equally to all motor vehicles. If the law will not be applied equally to all, it should not be applied to any of the to motorcycle owners and riders, Your Honors.
Right, I agree with you. I agree with you. But just the same, huwag mo nang bayaran pang hindi pa tapos to. Can we go? Yes, Senator JB. Nakatipid ka na nun. Mr. Lacson, yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, honorable senators, and the stakeholders of the motorcycle industry. Since we are talking about the amendment of Senator JV, I strongly agree with this position, but I'd like to bring up another point that we can maybe add.
It's related to the bill.
Yes.
Or the original law.
This bill po.
This bill, okay.
Yes. You were talking about discrimination, sa mga checkpoints and all that. I'm a rider in Mindanao, and I also am in the business of selling motorbikes, the good brands of motorbikes, and what yes, we call it premium, Mr. Chair. I see a great injustice when we, as motorcycle owners, in the sense that we buy a motorcycle, we technically cannot use it for the next 7 days or the next 10 days because there's no way for the LTO or the police to identify motorbikes. I'm insinuating because we do not have conduction stickers.
Lack of database.
No, lack of conduction stickers. Pag po tayo bumili ng kotse, bus, we can use it from the day we pay for it. Or when we get it, we can use it, and then we wait for LTO papers for 7 days, and the invoice allows you to use your vehicle, four-wheel vehicle, for the waiting period. When you buy a motorcycle, you cannot use it. Siya lang po ang binibili sa Pilipinas, sa pag binayaran niyo, hindi niyo pwedeng gamitin. Because huhulihin kayo, lalo na sa Davao. Davao City is very strict. You cannot use motorcycle that you bought and paid for that day. You have to wait 7 to 10 days, which is the standard sa LTO registration namin. So basically, you cannot use it. But again, when you have a vehicle, four-wheel vehicle, meron siyang conduction sticker that allows you.
So what is your proposal here?
conduction stickers on motorbikes at the point of distribution or the point of manufacturing, just the same way we do it with cars. I see a
At this point, we will be asking the LTO
Yes.
to respond.
Yes, because they do it for four-wheel vehicles, but they don't do it for two-wheel vehicles. So that
Yes.
is
Asek
injustice.
Togade, can anything be done administratively without amending the law concerning the point raised by Mr. Lacson?
Yes, Mr. Chair, may I defer this question with our MID Chief of for Operations, Mr. Danilo Encel.
Bago ka sumagot, ito siguro magandang marinig nyo yung naglabas na kayo ng IRR tungkol doon sa electric vehicles. Kasama ba yung electric motorcycles? Yes. Kasama. So, yung treatment, yung problemang sinasabi kanina, pag bumili rin ng electric vehicles, electric motorcycle, hindi rin pwede magamit? 7 days? The same? Tuloy mo lang, sige.
Magandang hapon, Your Honors. Yung conduction sticker po, kasi ang purpose lang po ng conduction sticker po natin is from the dealer to the owner or to the buyer house. So yun po ang pinaka-purpose po ng conduction sticker. So we have these regulations, no registration, no travel po talaga. So yung ating pong mga motor vehicle owners need to wait for the registration of their motor vehicle prior to their operation on the road.
Magawa sa motorsiklo yan.
Katulad din po sir, yung motor vehicle sa motorcycle sir, same po.
Pero sabi ni Mr. Lacson, pagbili ng kotse, magagamit na. And for bragging purposes and modesty aside, nung MMDA po ako, nakikita ko na yung iba, yung mga bago, walang ending. Ako po yung nagsimula nung gawing ending yung conduction sticker. Inadapt na lang yun ng LTO kung ano. Inimbento ko lang po yun. Kasi Holy Week noon eh. Mag-uuwian, ang dami nagpupunta ng probinsya, naglabas na lang kami ng circular. Bahala na, kuya habla ko. Hindi naman ako hinabla. Na yung ending ng conduction sticker, yun ang ilagay sa likod. Nag-issue ako ng memo sa Honda, Suzuki, Mitsubishi, Toyota, na maglabas din sila ng plastic. Na pag nakalagay doon na Toyota Alabang, nakalagay na rin doon yung number. Yun na yung ginamit namin na ending. So, creativity lang yan eh. So siguro dito, baka makaisip tayo ng hindi na babaguhin yung batas para naman yung mga motorsiklo, pareho rin ang treatment sa kotse. Anything to add? Sir, Mr. Lacson.
Ayun nga po, sir. LTO says that from dealer to home lang nung kotse yung bagong yung conduction sticker. But all of us, I've bought cars and ginagamit ko po sa Metro Manila, hindi ka titigilin ng LTO o ng HPG with a brand new car with a conduction sticker. But if you're on a motorcycle, patay ka. Titigilin ka ko. O kahit na may resibo ka ng, kasi receipt allows you to travel or a delivery receipt or an invoice. Kasi may waiting time ng LTO. You know, when you go to LTO, 7 to 10 days is the average for us.
How do you want that to become part of this mandatory measure of Senator Ercito? Isama na, i-allow na rin, ganon?
Well, basically to put conduction stickers on motorbikes so we will not be harassed by law enforcement.
Place the conduction stickers sa tangke ng gasolina, saan natin sa nilalagyan ng plaka?
Lalagyan ng plaka. May normally po yun, may frame eh. Lalagyan ng plaka. So, kasi po, yun ang nagiging...
I understand. LTO, anong pwede dito? Isama sa batas o kayo na lang?
Kung pwede po may sama sa batas, mas maigi po, Mr. Chair.
What is the law requiring conduction stickers? Kaya ko nga, nag-invento lang ako noon yung conduction sticker. Ginawa kong ending ng plaka para sa number coding. Is there a law concerning conduction stickers? That's just an administrative issuance coming from the LTO. So if it's an administrative issuance, the LTO can amend their administrative issuance.
Sige po, Mr. Chair, we will evaluate and...
Or to settle all of this, hindi naman pwedeng isama yung four-wheel drive dito. Rider provision na yun. I think you should come up with a proposal para fair na lahat. Para fair na lahat. Congressman.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I think, Mr. Chair, parang useless po ito. Kasi po, nabanggit nga ng LTO, magagamit lang yung conduction sticker from the dealer hanggang do sa bahay niya. And may batas po talaga. Bawal gamitin ang sasakyan na hindi rehistrado. So happen lang po, talagang may discrimination between car owners and motorcycle riders na hindi naman dapat payagan. Kaya sana maganda na rin po, Mr. Chair, andito yung HPG, ipakita natin yung tamang serbisyo. Bilhin niyo yung weight cars na may conduction sticker na dapat kung hindi rehistrado, bawal talaga. So again, Mr. Speaker, magiging useless lamang po itong conduction sticker kasi bawal talaga. Thank you.
LTO? And, LTO, Highway Patrol, anything to add?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon once again. We are doing that, sir. In fact, we are checking those, especially those old cars na meron pa rin siyang ang ginagamit is conduction. Yes, sir.
Sticker sa salamin ng kotse sa likod. Wala pa rin plaka. Yung
Yes, sir. Nag-inspect din po kami ng mga
kulay orange, puti-puti, faded na, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, more on implementation po ito eh. But we understand the concern, though not part of the measure here. Mr. Lacson, are you satisfied with the answer of PNP?
With due respect to the Honorable Congressman, meron po kami mga motor na binenta 2017, 2018, 2019 na wala pa pong plaka. Pero may ORCR na siya. And what the LTO asks for is to make your own plate and you put the number of the MV file number. So pag tinignan niyo po yung MV file number, it's practically useless, but a conduction sticker can also serve as that MV file number, if you think about it. Because and you can already match a motorcycle to a person at the point of sale. Kasi kesa mag-aantay pa tayo ng LTO.
So the conduction sticker usually is shouldered by Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki. Yung distributors na ito, di ba? Sila yung nag-i-issue na, nakakabit na yun doon eh. So next hearing natin, we have to invite the Honda and others. Yes, ayun ka pala, tama, kayo pala.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon to all the senators and congressmen who are here. I attended a meeting during the time of the former DILG, the ex-general who took his own life. I forgot his name. No, who took his own life? Yeah, Angie Reyes. The topic was conduction sticker. It was simple. 4136 says no vehicle can be used on the streets without registration. Conduction sticker is not an exemption. It was abused by, forgive me, it was abused by people in the government. Nilagyan ng palusot na 7 days. Actually, walang 7 days sa conduction sticker. The conduction sticker is used primarily, sabi nga ng kaibigan natin from LTO, from the dealer to the house of the buyer. Period. Wala po nakalagay doon na 7 days pwede mo gamitin. Lately lang po lumabas yung mga pwedeng gamitin na 7 days, whatever. Kaya marami na pong haka-haka lumabas. Actually, wala pong 7 days yan. Originally, wala. So, paano nagkaroon ng 7 days? Your guess is good as mine. Kung sino man yung mga nagpapatupad ng batas, sila rin po naglagay siguro ng 7 days. But actually, wala rin po conduction sticker sa motorcycle for the mere fact na hindi po kasya. Pinag-usapan din po namin dito yan sa LTO, sa mga former LTO chief, assistant secretary, wala po magkasya. Kung saan nilalagay paliliitin, pinaliit, it defeats the purpose. So parang medyo patawad po doon sa kaibigan natin from Mindanao, medyo siguro lately lang po siya nakasama sa mga meetings. I've been with the motorcycle dealers for the past 15 years. I've been attending meetings with the LTO, with a lot of assistant secretaries. And one more thing, Chairman, can we refrain or can we remove the word riding in tandem? Kasi po, maling term po yun eh. Yung riding in tandem, pag si Senator JV ang kasasawa niya, riding in tandem na po tawag sa kanila eh. Pwede po ba natin gamitin na criminals in motorcycle, anybody na dalawa magkasama, girlfriend kasama, riding in tandem po tawag eh. Para bang ang motorcycle was meant for one na lang. Pag nakita ang dalawa, criminal. So, di ba? So parang maybe it's about time to change the term. Thank you po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may, probably isa sa inisip natin para mabawasan pa yung discrimination, we'll change the title to motor vehicles. Kasi dito dati Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act eh. So we'll change it para sa lahat, Mr. Chair, para lahat. All vehicles na Motor Vehicles Crime Prevention Act. And then we will pursue with the amendments. And siguro, Mr. Chair, before we siguro nakausap ko si Asek Tugade last week na I went to the LTO while we are already in the process of amending the law kasi po yung by law they are bound to implement it, pero sabi ko sa kanya ilan ba yung backlog natin, no? I think 9 million tapos 2 million sa motor vehicles and 9 million sa motorcycles. Sabi ko bakit i-put on hold na talaga natin muna, mag-concentrate tayong tapusin na muna yung backlog, no? Ubusin na muna yon, concentrate on the rear plates. Tapos as we amend the law, tamang-tama lang sakto, by the time pasado na, then yun yung masusunod natin. So RFID and na lang ang i-concentrate yung rear plates para matapos na. Kasi yung importante rito, siguro the PNP will agree with me, mas maganda magkaplaka lahat eh. Yan ang priority natin, di ba? Hanggang merong 9 million o sabihin na natin may 5 million dyan na walang plaka, yun ang kaduda-dudan. Medyo kahit pa paano ang PNP, dyan, no? Wari kayo doon. Di ba? Mag-aalala kayo doon. So, yun naman ang namin, Mr. Chair, na pag-usapan namin ni Asek Tugade, and I thank Asek Tugade, the LTO Director, for being supportive of this proposal.
Who is raising his hand? Naj Abdul. You're a motorcycle blogger.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayors and our colleagues here. So, actually, I am a motorcycle rider. I do vlogs. I promote places.
Are you opposing the bill or supporting the bill?
Supporting the bill.
Supporting the bill.
I just wanted to point out to LTO something. LTO allow us, if you have a ORCR, you can put a MD file on your motorcycle to address that you have a plate. So the MD file number is almost 15 digits. And we are proposing the double placa and we are against the double placa. So when we can put a MD file on the rear plate and we cannot read, then what's the use of the double placa? The second thing, when we are releasing our ORCR, most of the ORCR has already the plate number. And I tried to put my plate number, temporarily made it on my bike, and I was riding, I was promoting the Philippines. So there is an issue come up that I cannot use the temporary plate without authorization from the LTO. So already on the ORCR, we have a plate number available. But the lack of plate supply from the LTO, we cannot use the authorized plate number. So we have to get authorization from the LTO to use the plate what we make from outside. So my only suggestion is, how about when you're releasing the ORCR, just include the authorization for the temporary plate also. So it will not be abala. The rider is waiting for more than 10 days, 15 days to get his ORCR. Once we get the ORCR, he is going to get the plate from somebody else. Make it. Then he have to go back to the LTO to get the authorization. He have to line up maybe 1 day, 2 days, get the authorization. Is it good that from they are releasing the ORCR, same time they can give the temporary authorization for the temporary plate.
Suggestion to the LTO. Asek Togade, who will answer that?
Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, yung authority to use temporary plate ay ini-issue po ni LTO yan kapag wala pa hong actual plate na ibinigay po sa owner. But yung file number, the use of file number naman po as temporary plate, we have also issuance for that na kapag wala pa tayong plate number na na-issue, for example, wala daw sa OR at CR, you can use the file number as temporary plate.
So you don't agree with what Mr. Abdul has been saying?
Sir, the MB file number is almost 15 digits. And when you put it on the rear plate, nobody can read. If you are looking for that MB file, nobody can read. So most of the ORCR is come up already there, the plate number already. Only the actual plate is...
Suggesting that we shorten the number of digits for purposes of a temporary plate. Make it 8.
So something like that we can do. And some of the ORCR is come with plate number, but the actual plate is not available. So they request us to make our own self the temporary plate, get the authorization from LTO. So if ever we going back there to get all the things done, it will take more time and we cannot use our motorcycle. Some of the riders, we are buying the motorcycle just for their hanap buhay nila. So gawa nila na mga yung delivery, mga angkas, mga ganyan. So they have to wait.
Your concrete proposal is what? Shorten the number of digits, reduce, and then authorize of the temporary...
Same as plate number. So we can read. Also, when we releasing the actual plate is not available at the moment. So when you say that, you can use your temporary plate number, same time when you release the ORCR, please provide us a temporary authorization until the actual plate is available.
Sir, LTO?
Your Honor, actually yung file number is 11 characters.
It's big, sir. 11 character is so big. Nobody can read on 11 character on the black back plate. So this is a half of this board is a plate. So if you put a 11 digit, nobody can read. So the double plug guys came up because they said the motorcycle plate numbers cannot read. That's where the crime is happening. We have to put the double plug. When we are proposing the MB file, that is 11 digit. Then what's the use of the front plug?
LTO, can you think of a way to have a compromise solution to this? First 2 letters, last 5 digits, etc., etc. So next hearing natin yon. Otherwise, medyo mauubos ang creative juices nyo rito. But we take note of your concern, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So hindi na lang natin napasalita dito, Mr. Angeles plus Mr. Angeles and Mr. Gilmar. We have a plenary session in 10 minutes. Doon pa sa Mr. Alberto pa. So, can we do it? I'm not asking that you speak in tandem because you don't want the word tandem to be used. So, any disagreement, any support here?
Yeah.
But we'll be asking your position paper as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we actually support the SB, the Senate bill. With the MDPPA serving as the consortium of top Japanese motorcycle assembly plants in the country, namely Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamaha, the association main thrust is to protect our consumer safety. As far as the motorcycle manufacturing companies are concerned, we support the amendment of RA 11235, especially the current models running both in our production lines and in-use motorcycle running on the road are not yet designed for additional metal plates in front. With the proposal to put RFID in place, it would be easier for the manufacturing to recommend standard guidelines on affixing the RFID, especially for models with no front covers or fenders.
Again, may we reiterate that it is in the core of the MDPPA to always prioritize the road safety above anything else. It is our greatest pleasure to work hand in hand as technical expert with all relevant government agencies in providing our expertise to achieve the objective and provision of this amendment. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
But just submit your position paper as well. Siguro I'll go back to Mr. Tote Alberto if you have something to add. Those who were not asked to propose something, I'm referring to Mr. Alvin and who else? Miss Kate. Dalawa na lang will be recalled during their next hearing together with the oppositors. Mr. Alberto, bigyan namin kayo ng 3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes. Thank you very much for having me here. Anyway, I'm the importer of Ducati and other premium brands. What John D said was perfect. It takes a long time for us to register because there's a problem with the communication between customs and LTO. But I think that should be another topic. I'll ask Senator JV to arrange a meeting, and I will explain what's the problem with the registration. And of course, this amendment for the bill is very good. RFID fixes it. I mean, in the place we live, we can go to the guardhouse. The gate opens automatically. They would know if we paid our monthly dues or what. It's very good. So there's no need for placa or whatever. All we need is a RFID. Thank you very much for thinking about that. Thank you.
Thank you for your inputs. Mr. Jan, we will recall you during the next hearing. So I think we have covered a lot, though we still have some fine-tuning to do. We will continuously consult with you together with Senator J.V. Ejercito, the proponent, as well as the other members of this committee. But due to lack of material time, we will be having perhaps the second and final hearing together with the oppositors. But those who were called today, please submit your position papers to the committee secretary within the week kung kaya nyo. So without opposition, this Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights meeting is hereby suspended. Thank you.
Yung last na senatorial election nga pala, no, kaya natalo si Senator Dick Gordon dahil dito sa pagpasa niya ng doble plaka law, which is lahat talaga ng riders na tamaan. So ako, idol ko yan si Dick Gordon kasi matalino yung tao yan. Pero dito sa doble plaka law, medyo nabububuhan talaga ako doon. Bakit kailangan mong lakihan yung plaka at bakit doble pa? Knowing na shortage mga tayo ng plaka sa LTO. At yun na nga, no, kung gusto mo yung content for today, consider to subscribe and hit that notification bell para notify ka sa mga future uploads natin ng katulad na magritong content na may kinalaman sa mga riders, tungkol sa batas, so forth and so on. Yun lang, see you on the next video.